Hi, Filoni Smopery here, and fresh off of New York Times' terrible debacle of a smear attempt on Brett Kavanaugh from that god-awful book where there's a victimless crime and she doesn't remember the incident, and the witness is a person who worked for the Hillary Clinton campaign. That's just amazing. But anyway, so I thought I'd look these guys up, and sure enough, they got a whole bunch of trash articles. And so here's one. It's not that long ago. It's July 28th, 2019. The real problem with Trump rallies. There's a lot of similarities between the president and George Wallace of Alabama. But there's also one big difference. Okay. So for those of you who don't know who George Wallace is, he was a governor of Alabama who believed in segregation, who believed in Jim Crow laws, who tried to keep black students out of Alabama University, or the University of Alabama. And of course, he was a racist. I mean, obviously, right? So they're trying to associate Trump with George Wallace. I mean, they just brought the two together, and then they're saying there's so many similarities between the two. Well, there is one major difference between the two of them, but I'll get to that. So they're trying to say that the Southern Manifesto, which forced University of Alabama to accept black students at gunpoint, right? And when that happened, you knew there was going to be some kind of pushback from the people, because quite frankly, you don't want something forced upon you. I mean, no matter what, you just don't want it forced upon you. So there was a certain amount of pushback, and that pushback gave some support to otherwise really a ridiculous leader in Wallace. Now, what this article talks about, and they never once mentioned, was George Wallace's political affiliation. George Wallace was a Democrat, because Democrats were the segregation. They believed in segregation. They believed in Jim Crow laws. They believed in KKK. They believed in slavery. Go back far enough. And the Southern Manifesto, which was written by Democrats, really, in my view, to erase their history, right? But it also did it in a Democrat way, and that is the use of force. So here's a Democrat contesting a Democrat bill which goes back to Democrats writing segregation laws. And now they're trying to pin this on Trump. They're trying to associate it with Trump. It's just amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. Now, this racist newspaper goes on and it shows this is a George Wallace rally. Now, I don't blame people in here for having a false belief like that, since they've been pushed and prodded. And quite frankly, if you do something by force, you know you're going to get a pushback, right? You know it. And I don't. It's almost like a mastermind stroke from the Democrats to do something like this, right? Because they knew they had to change their platform, right? They're the ones who introduced segregation laws, and then they rewrite the laws to force black students to be able to go into University of Alabama. And then there's a Democrat who's opposed to that. It's just Democrats all over the place, but they're trying now associate it with the GOP. So this is a Wallace rally, and of course you see all kinds of white people. I would doubt there's a single black person. Why would a black person be at a George Wallace rally when he's a deep racist? And they're trying to affiliate it with a Trump rally. This is a Trump rally. And now there's a different angle. You see a lot more people's faces in this one than you do in this one. Maybe that's intentional, maybe it's not, I don't know. But you really only see the first row, 2 rows, and then after that it really does kind of fade to hands and stuff like that. So you still see a white hand there and stuff like that. Now there's a gentleman over here. I don't know, he kind of looks maybe a little Latino, maybe not, maybe he's white. But then you go over here, and that is definitely a black man. Now what's he doing? Well, he's smiling first of all, so you know he's not under threat or anything. He's not held there or anything. He's holding up his camera. He's taking a picture of the president, taking a video of the president, and listening to the president speak. And he's like everybody else here, he's having a good time. So there is no comparison. Because if you go to a Trump rally, there's always blacks there, there's always Latinos there, and they support the president. And this is something that the New York Times just cannot get out of their heads. That blacks do support he's got probably one of the highest GOP ratings amongst the blacks ever. He does. Well, I mean, for a very long time anyway. But bringing back the racist attitude of paper and of the Democrats, basically, all they did was switch targets. They made a strategic move to move away from white people and actually blame white people for everything, and tried to get their support from Latinos and blacks and people of color. Now look at this. This whole article is full of this. But look at this page, or this little paragraph right here, where I'll just read this out. He says what we're thinking and what we want to say, a noted white woman at Trump rally. We wish we can speak our mind without worrying about consequences, explained a white man at a Phoenix event. It's just amazing how they're bringing color into everything. All they did was switch targets, but they still have the same racist attitudes. It's just now against white people, and that's how they think they're going to win. Now the difference, like in the beginning of the article, they say the difference where Trump criticizes individuals, where Mr. Wallace characterized things like communist and anarchists and all this other stuff. He labeled whole groups of people, which Trump never does. Trump, when he criticizes somebody, like he criticizes the Squad, for example, where he criticized, and they happen to be people of color, he doesn't care. I mean, if they're white, he doesn't care. If they're black, he doesn't care. If they're Indian, he doesn't care. If he's going to criticize you, he's going to criticize you. It doesn't matter what color you are. But meanwhile, newspapers like the New York Times keep bringing race into everything, every single time. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.